good evening, everyone. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather, and I know that this is a bit of a late stream here. Not that that's anything that we're not used to here, at least for me, but we do have precipitation starting to become more prevalent in our area, so I wanted to give kind of an expectation of what to look for overnight, remind you of a few things too, and make sure that you're prepared for the possibility of what we're going to have coming in overnight. Just got a report that we don't have anything falling here at the studio, but I will show you what we are seeing right here in the mid-cities. So from Flower Mound down to Euless, Arlington, really down 360 here. So DFW, Euless, Arlington, Mansfield, almost down to Venus there. That is where we have most of the precipitation at this moment. And you can see it pretty clear there. Got a report from a good friend of mine that there is a decent bit of snow mixed in there in Mansfield. And so that's what we have right now, and we do expect it to become more prevalent as we go through the next several hours, overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Now, what we do expect to see is really for the southwest portion of our area, from about Hillsborough to Waxahachie to Kaufman on southeast, to really be where we'll see most of the precipitation overnight. And so that's going to kind of give a better chance for these areas to see those higher accumulations. At the same time, though, when it comes to what kind of precipitation we're going to see, it'll be further north where you will see most of the snow and that sort of thing. But ice will be a bigger concern to our south, which is kind of what we've been looking at, right? We've been talking about the fact that most of the precipitation was probably going to be to the southeast, but when it comes to the snow and the colder precipitation, that was going to be farther to the north, but farther south and east is where we will have a bigger concern for ice, freezing rain, those kinds of things. And so just be ready for that as we go through the night. Now I want to just run through a couple of things with you here. We'll take a look at the high resolution model here just to get an idea of what that sees going on through the night. And we'll have to go to the 02Z. Now, one thing I will show you, and this is something that we went through earlier, is this model is going to show you what we expect the upper levels to look like, or at least the warm air aloft that is allowing us to melt the snow and then refreeze it into sleet and closer to the ground freezing rain. You look at this and we're still looking at probably temperatures right around 36, 37, 38 degrees in the upper levels in Ellis County, a little bit warmer south. And you can see that we kind of start getting a little bit warmer again as you go southeast. That is going to allow for the rain to stay rain longer, but it will freeze when it gets to the ground. So that's why we have that higher ice threat there. Now, as we go through the night, I want to let that load here, and we'll show that to you. You see here as we go through the night, that slowly starts to creep southward, and that's 12 p.m. So just a couple of kind of landmarks here for you. That's 6 a.m. So by 6 a.m. from Hillsborough to Ennis over to Canton, that's where we could see, this is a model, this is all an estimation, but that's where we could see that line of cooler temperatures, of freezing temperatures aloft, where again, north of that line, we could have a higher chance of seeing a little bit more snow, maybe more sleet, than freezing rain. So when we want to watch for that changeover, that is what you're watching for. And as we get into the late morning, that's 10 a.m., you can see that line has shifted a little farther south. So again, that's the freezing line. So you could possibly see a little bit more snow mixed in as far south as Whitney, Hillsborough, Corsicana, Kearns there. So just be prepared for a little bit of snow to be mixed in. Again, this is going to be scattered and kind of isolated. We unfortunately will not have enough snow to make any kind of big deal. I'm not looking for a white Monday across our area, a white Martin Luther King Day. It's just, we're looking at a little bit of snow here and there, and we'll talk about those accumulations here in just a moment. But as we go through the day, though, that's 12 p.m. tomorrow. That might lift a little bit farther south, or farther north rather, as we get through heating of the day and that sort of thing. So it'll fluctuate and it'll go back and forth, and really by the afternoon we should be seeing most of that precipitation tapering off. And let's get now to, let's bring this back to where we were. Let's get back to really the precipitation type there. That's going to give us the best, I think, indication. So we look at the high resolution model here, and this is 11 p.m. So this is really looking at a couple of hours, looking at more precipitation developing, and really it looks like we're going to have to I'm going to have to get over here to really show this to the southeast, but you can see more prevalent precipitation there. And then as we go forward here, you just see it continuing mostly to the southwest. Again, really from Wills Point and Grand Saline on to Kaufman, Waxahachie, Hillsborough, and on to the southeast, where we see the highest potential for precipitation. And you notice, of course, that the higher precipitation is going to be where those temperatures are a little bit warmer, where we have that environment for sleet and freezing rain, and where ice will be a major issue. And north of that, where there's more likely to be possibly sleet and snow mixed in, not as much precipitation. So that's just kind of what we're looking at. Not the best forecast for snow overall. And then by the time we get to 1 p.m. tomorrow, most if not all of that has pushed to the southeast. So that's kind of what we're seeing here in terms of expectations for precipitation. Of course, wintry precipitation, I've talked about this many times, it's really hard for the radar to really catch that. And I want to make sure that I'm getting rid of, I'm going to have to figure out this radar banner here. I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. But it's really hard for models to see what's going to happen. The models, I mean, it didn't have all of the precipitation in the mid-cities. So that's not saying that you won't get any precipitation north of there, but the majority of it, the most prevalent moisture and precipitation we will see will be in our southeastern zones. So just be prepared for that, and be prepared for travel to be an issue there. Now, I'm already seeing it. Well, we get nothing. We'll get nothing. Don't misunderstand that just because you didn't see the pink in the model just now doesn't mean you're not going to get anything. Like I just said, we didn't see the precipitation going on in the mid-cities on that model. It's not going to catch everything. Winter weather is really hard for these models to catch. That's just where most of the moisture will be, but that does not mean that we couldn't see any kind of precipitation at all. And I will also say, too, that when it comes to our accumulations, I'm not really going to say one place over another. When it comes down to it, our accumulations, I mean, we could see as far as sleet and snow for our northern areas, where we could be looking at some of that precipitation, some of that sleet and snow possibly, we could see anything from a trace to possibly a quarter inch. I mean, there's places that could get heavier precipitation than others, where you could get a decent quarter of an inch. And really, a quarter of an inch is going to be high for this event. It's possible, not likely, but it is possible there. And I got some things coming in. So thank you, Brooke, for the donation in the Venmo. So thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. But that's what we're watching for overnight, is the fact that really, again, from, I would say, Cleburne to Waxahachie, Kaufman, north, you have a better chance of getting some sleet and snow mixed in, but you're going to have probably less moisture there, higher moisture to the southeast, where freezing rain is a greater issue, and ice will be a higher concern. And I do want to remind you too, let's get right over to the graphics so that I can go over this. And I don't know why I disappeared there. Okay, that was really strange. Didn't have it set that way, but that's that's the direction it went. So I do want to remind you of the two advisories that we've had, and I do not believe we had a change. If we have, I'll just have to, I guess, eat that crow later. And let me just, while we're sitting here, double check all of that. So, because sometimes these events, they change so quickly. Okay, so there has been a change indeed. So I want to make sure that we incorporate that. But it looks like no change in the graphics that I do have, and then I'm going to make an adjustment here. If you'll give me just a moment and pull up something new that has come up in the last several minutes here. Let me see if I can get that posted here. Okay, good. All right, so we've got that. All right, we will get to that here in just a moment. But what I have behind me here is the winter weather advisory. And so that it goes, okay, yeah, I've got my notes here because there's a lot going on here. Winter weather advisory goes through noon Monday, through noon tomorrow. So yeah, that's what we're looking at in terms of, again, the precipitation and the ice concerns. That will likely continue, at least the falling precipitation will continue through probably mostly noon tomorrow. I think afternoon we could see some lingering moisture, but I think most of that has tapered off by then, and that is when that will expire. Now, don't mistake this. We will continue to see ice in the area really until probably we thaw out on Wednesday. Tuesday we could see more sun, which would help on those surfaces, but it's really going to depend. Tomorrow I think we'll see mostly clouds. And so, yeah, we will have that ice, whatever does fall and freeze, will stay below freezing until we're in the 40s on Wednesday. So just keep that in mind, too. We also need to talk about one other detail here, which is going to be I don't like that I'm in front of the logo. Shouldn't be doing that. Okay, good. Get me out of the way there. The wind chill advisory, there's really two parts to this. The wind chill advisory is in existence now through noon Tuesday for Dallas, Tarrant, Parker, really from the Metroplex counties and northward, okay? So from the Metroplex north, it's in effect now through noon Tuesday. And then at noon tomorrow, it goes into effect for areas south of there and really all of north and north central Texas. So what this means is that we could see wind chill values below zero. We're talking -5 to -10, and that's from the strong winds and the very low temperatures expected through really the next couple of days. And that can lead to hypothermia. So be very, very careful as you are going through the next several hours, the next couple of days. Make sure that you are dressing accordingly if you are outside. Really, the best thing is to not be outside at all. But we have to continue to contend with the fact that, yeah, very, very cold temperatures, even colder wind chills, and that wind will hurt you if you allow it to. So just make sure that you are prepared. Now, I want to pivot back to something, and we'll pivot back to this map, because we have a hard freeze warning that is in effect for Dallas, Tarrant, Parker, Rockwall, Denton, Collin counties, Collin and Denton counties, get them backwards, and then on to the northeast. And just to get into the text of that and discuss that directly, again, that is Fannin, Collin, Lamar, Tarrant, Dallas, Rockwall, and Eastland counties. From midnight tonight through 10 a.m. Monday, the cold temperatures will become life-threatening to people and animals outdoors without proper warmth and shelter. Damage to plumbing is possible if pipes are not properly drained and or insulated. Frost and freeze conditions will kill crops and other sensitive vegetation. So just a continual alert here regarding those very cold temperatures that we will see across North Texas tonight. So just keep that in mind as we move forward, that there are multiple different alerts ongoing warning you of not only the wind chills, but now the air temperature as well. And so just keep that in mind and make sure that you are staying safe out there. And we'll get our winter weather radar back on. So again, here's where we see the precipitation right now. And really, it has been over this area for quite some time. Not all of that is reaching the ground here, but I am impressed at how much moisture there is from the mid-cities through Tarrant County over towards Weatherford. So we could get more precipitation maybe than we are expecting there. I know we've got a lot of folks around the Metroplex that are tuning in here, so let's kind of zoom this out just a little bit. Again, from Denton through Flower Mound, DFW Airport down through the mid-cities of Euless, Arlington, Mansfield there, all of that area. That is where we're seeing the reports right now, a sleet-snow mix. Haven't heard anything about the rain here, but you can see that extends now towards Alvarado and Venus there in Johnson County. So this is where we're seeing that. And again, through Tarrant County over into Parker County, right there in Weatherford, that's where we're seeing some of this precipitation as well. And then, yeah, we're starting to see it more on to the east. And really, again, this is going to be the area where we should see more of that moisture. So from Canton towards Lindale, Tyler, over to Athens and parts of maybe Gun Barrel City and parts of Kaufman County there as well. That's where we're seeing this. And I am not doing a very good job of keeping up with my graphics here. We'll just leave that banner off there. It's not really necessary. So we will continue to see this deteriorate throughout the night. Just bear in mind, keep in mind that this is not all we're going to see. I know some of you have looked at the weather model I showed just a moment ago and said, well, it didn't show me getting snow, so we're done, it's over, it's gone. People love to throw their hands up and just absolutely give up on what they want. You know, like they did in Arlington tonight. So I'm not going to get into the Cowboys game. It's just too sad. But we will see more moisture and more precipitation overnight. I do think that most of us will wake up in the morning and see at least some kind of dusting on the ground. Again, I don't expect it to be anything surprising or impressive, but that's what I expect. Now, expectations can't be beaten, and they often are in weather, especially Texas weather. So for you in the mid-cities, you're already getting a little more moisture than I expected really to see, and it's been pretty persistent there. So we will continue to watch this overnight. I'm going to get at least some sleep, and I'm planning a bit of a date night with my wife because we've got a movie and some really good queso and some cheesecake picked out. So I'm going to take a little bit of time for us, but we will be monitoring this overnight. Brittany, you say shots fired. Well, I'm not the one who pulled the gun. They shot themselves in the foot. So that's just the way, unfortunately, that went. But we are going to continue to follow along here and just keep in mind a few things. One, moisture will improve and conditions will deteriorate, to use that dichotomy there, overnight tonight. We will see more moisture become more widespread across our area. North of Cleburne, Waxahachie, Kaufman, Wills Point, Canton there, north is where you're more likely to see possibly a snow-sleet mix. And then before he leaves, I've got to get this guy in because I made a promise earlier today to do that, the weather cat tiger himself. So just keep in mind that north of that line, you'll see more likely a sleet-snow mix. And then it's very possible beyond there to the south, it's going to be a little bit more of an ice problem because you're going to have that freezing rain. Remember the analogy I used with the donut, a glazed donut. You watch them at Krispy Kreme, they put the glaze over the donut, cover it up, or you can even use icing, right? Icing, it kind of settles in and gets everywhere, spreads out, and then it hardens, right? That's the same thing freezing rain does. Freezing rain gets everywhere, it covers everything, and then it freezes. So that's what causes such a big ice problem. You look at sprinkles, that's a little bit more like sleet. It can be slippery, but it doesn't spread out and cause the widespread issues that you have. So that's why ice is a bigger problem from, again, Cleburne, I would say Meridian, Cleburne, Waxahachie, Kaufman, that line there to the south and east will be the bigger issue as we go into the next several hours. And rain will, precipitation, I should say, will get more widespread overnight into early tomorrow morning. We should see that mostly taper off by noon, certainly by the early afternoon hours, but we don't get above freezing until Wednesday. So just keep in mind, too, that whatever's frozen, probably going to stay that way most of the next couple of days. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We will have more updates for you, and just be prepared. Very cold temperatures, life-threatening, possibly harmful temperatures overnight tonight between the air temperatures and the wind chill. And yes, be very, very careful on the roads tonight, tomorrow morning, if you have to be out there. And of course, we will have continuing coverage throughout the night when I'm not trying to get a little sleep, of course, all day tomorrow and on from there.